Today I'm doing some cleanup of my area over here, and I thought that I could take you guys along and kind of show you all of the gear that I've amassed. At least all the gear that could fit on here that I've amassed over all of the years that I've been doing this, 5 years now. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be cleaning off some stuff and putting stuff away and talking about it. The first item is this air blower. No, I'm just kidding. This is a pretty good air blower though. It just works. Nothing too fancy about it. Nothing fancy about it at all. Alright, so I decided that on the top shelf here, I'm going to be putting my lenses, starting from the biggest to the smallest this way, and then the most unused over here, which the unused ones are going to be mostly the, what was it called? EFM mount. I think that's what it was called. So let's see. So the first lens that we have is the 70 to 200 RF version. This guy right here was pretty phenomenal. Is pretty phenomenal. It extends, and the previous version did not. It was internal, but it was twice as long. It was like this big. This guy is pretty great. This is fantastic glass. With the actual cover on, it's pretty massive, but regardless, it's still an absolutely great great lens. One of my clients, my main client from Boomi, just sent me a message saying she's sending me a bunch of props because what's up, buddy? How are you? How do you say that? Axelsaurus, how's it going? Sent me a message about some props that she's sending my way, and it's just a bunch of trinkets and stuff. Where's the best place to find props for photography? Amazon, really, because it's so quick and it's easy for a client to purchase stuff and send it your way. But sometimes you won't be able to find, like, specific stuff, or a client might have a specific vision in mind, right? So if they're willing and able to go shopping for themselves for their own props, then encourage that, because it's one less thing that you have to do. All right, so 7200. Going over here. Then I'm going to move on to my least used lenses. Actually, I'll put these other ones. This right here is the 28 to 70. This lens right here, I was saying earlier that I hope to never have to ever sell any of my gear or any of my lenses. I haven't had to do so just yet, but I'd be fine getting rid of everything, but what I wouldn't get rid of would be the R6 for sentimental purposes and sentimental reasons, or I wouldn't sell this guy, and I wouldn't sell this lens, because I know that this R6, the original Mark 1, with this lens right here, I can work enough to earn enough money with just these two pieces of kit that I could buy everything back pretty quickly too, because the quality of this lens and this camera, you could do practically anything. You might be saying, why not the R5? Well, the R5 is the camera that I would choose, but this one specifically doesn't have as much sentimental value to me than that R6. The R6, sorry to bore you, but the R6 was the first camera that I bought after I had thought that, I wouldn't spend any more. What was I trying to say? It's the first camera that I bought with the earnings from my first entry level camera that I made enough money that I scrapped and scraped and scratched and clawed to get enough money to get this camera. So this one was a real tough one. Once I got this and this lens, the rest of the jobs just kind of lined up. And that's not to say that you need expensive gear to do a lot of work or to do expensive work, but it definitely helps. That's that guy there. Next lens. This is the 85. I'm a product photographer. Yeah, product photographer. Content creator, digital creator. Yeah, that's what I do. This is the 85 millimeter with a probably the most ridiculous filter. Lens cover, lens hood that I've ever seen in my life. Look at this guy. But yeah, this is the 85 millimeter. This lens right here, this one's a spectacular lens if you're strictly a portrait photographer. This lens at like weddings and stuff like that, killer lens. But like I said, it has a ridiculous hood on it, which you don't have to use the hood, but this in itself is like a couple $100, so it's expensive, unnecessarily so. And there's no reason for it to be that expensive except that it has a Canon brand. Bunch of white shit on it. $85 millimeter. This lens lives at my job because I do mostly portraits on the fly, and that lens is super fast, super quick. All right, let's start going into some of the other lenses that I have that are my least popular lenses. What is this guy? This is a Canon macro EFS lens. The EFS line was the S specifically was meant for crop sensor cameras, and I have it mounted to an adapter here that is a Viltrox adapter, and this Viltrox adapter turns this into an EFM mount, so it goes to the M mount camera, this little guy, and I can use this lens on this macro lens on my EFM camera. And yeah, so that's this one. Great little lens. It works on. Can I put it on the other? So this is a Viltrox mount adapter for EF to RF, and I'm gonna see if I can fit this guy. Probably not. Maybe. Let's try it. So this is an EFS to EF RF mount. Let's see. I've never tried this. It works. Look at that. So now this can be mounted onto this R6. R6 via the Viltrox EFM mount. Let's see, where does it connect to? There it is. Looks a little funny. Yeah, it definitely looks a little funny. Oh, this lens I remember has a silly little hood. Look at this lens. Yeah, this, and oh, also it's a macro lens, right? It has a funny hood. Like this, it doesn't look too bad, but this lens, I remember. Do I have a battery in here? Nope. All right, let me get a battery. I'll show you. Because this lens does something cool. Something cool that I don't think any other camera has. So you see this little white area right here? Well, if you power it on, it powers through the camera. If you power it on, it's actually a light. Wait, can I do it? Did it turn on? Did it turn on? I can't tell. Yeah, it is. Yeah, you see that light? And it has different modes, so you can turn on both sides. Like that. It's kind of hard to tell in the camera. And I think single click switches it off. So single click turns one side on, another does another side, and then it rotates to off. So yeah, so this lens right here is a macro lens. Kind of neat. I forgot about it. I should probably use this lens more. So it has a, like I said, a funny little. Can I use something that high power to clean off lenses? What is the duster? Yeah, I mean, it's just the duster. There's a filter on the back of it. I wouldn't be like touching the bristles to the actual optics. But as far as like dusting and getting on the plastic and stuff like that, like I would definitely do this, so just on the plastics and the outside part for sure. I do this on the cameras all the time. But I do have this really cool little, I forget what it was called, the blow daddy, I think. But yeah, so this is a macro lens. Let me see if I can get the lens cap back on here. And I want to see something. Oh, you know what? This would go really, really good with the R10 or the R7, because that already has like a punched in like look. I mean, a crop sensor, so it'll be like 35 at 1.6 will be what? Can somebody do math? 35 times 1.6 plus a macro thing. All right, so what's the minimum focus distance here? Okay, so this lens right here has a minimum focus distance of 0.13 meters or 0.43 feet, which is, just for the sake of making it easy, let's call it 6 inches, right? because there's 12 inches in a foot. This is 0.43, a little bit less than 6 inches of a minimum focus distance. So what that does is it means that you can have a subject very close to you and this will still get in focus. So it isn't like a true macro lens. You can get like this close to something. But let's see the 35. This is the new RF 35 millimeter STM lens. Nothing fancy about this lens. Fantastic lens. And this one, let's see. Okay, so yeah, so look at this. This has a 0.56 minimum focus distance, which means that with this lens, this EFS lens, I'm able to get closer to the subject. Let's see if I can turn it. Let's see if you guys can see that. I'm able to get this over to the, get closer to a subject with this lens. Plus this has a light, which I guess is kind of neat if you need that extra little kick of light. But this lens is the one that I've been using for macro shots. The 85. The 85 is also a macro lens. This one is, yeah, see, this is the 85 millimeter here, also a macro lens. But this one says, I don't know if you can see it in there. This one says 1.14 feet. So that's certainly not going to get you as close as a distance as the 35 set over here. Okay. Continuing onward. Moving on, this is a Sigma lens right here for the EFM mount. This is they just came out with these. They're called the Sigma Trio, and the Sigma Trio has the 16 millimeter, the 30 millimeter, and then the 56 millimeter. I have all three of them, but I have them for the EFM mount. Yeah, I have it for the EFM mount, and I don't use that camera anymore. The EFM mount camera, the M50 that I had. That was my first camera that I ever had that I started doing product shoots with, and I bought this Trio thinking that it was going to be the end all be all, and it was for a time until it wasn't, until you want something else, which is, I'm sure everybody in here can relate. But this Sigma Trio is coming out for the RF mount, and they're the same price as these ones. So I'm going to be purchasing those three lenses here shortly. I might order them in a day or two. The 16 millimeter isn't out yet, but I'm really excited about that one because I can put that on my R10 on this guy right here and use it as like my talking head camera on my desk over here. And at a 1.4 at a 16 millimeter, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be looking real good. So yeah, so this lens is the Sigma 30 millimeter f 1.4 contemporary lens. Sigma makes some really cool stuff. They make some good lenses. I'm gonna put this over here. What else? This guy. This is a little kit lens that was that came with the EFM mount, and this is what these lenses are the ones that made me kind of realize that kit lenses are no good. You're better off just buying the version of the camera with no lens, and then buying something like the Nifty 50. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Happy to answer and just talk about it. Canon R5. This is the 85 millimeter RF F2. Is it an F2? I think so. Where does it say it? Yeah, Canon lens RF 85 F2 macro IS. This lens is pretty good. I use it a lot for product photography. It has a lot of modes. It's considered a macro lens, but it has a 1.14 minimum focus distance, so it's kind of like a macro lens, but it has some really nice compression. So I recommend this lens a lot. About 500, 600 bucks. I can't remember exactly, but beautiful photos for every day. It's inexpensive, and you can just run and gun with it. It is noisy though, so if you're using it for video and you're using like a top mic like this guy, if you're using a mic like this to do your audio recording, you are gonna pick up some of the lens motor kind of moving in and out. But if you don't need the video, I mean, if you don't need the audio from an onboard mic and you have like lavalier mics, or you have mics like the DJI mics here, if you have something like this, like these guys here, this will be great for the 85 because you won't need to like worry about the sound coming from the onboard camera. So this lens definitely, especially if you're a product photographer, this is, and you can only have one lens, like you got a limited budget, which is pretty normal when you're getting started out. You don't know what to buy. Everything's crazy expensive. You don't know where to even start. I'd start with this lens, and I'd start with probably the R8. Probably the R8. That's like a full frame camera. This has stabilization. You'll get a beautiful image with the R8 and 85. And that should be about $1,600. So it's still a lot, but if you're not knowing where to start, that's where I'd go. I should make a video about that. That's actually a good idea. Okay, what's another lens here? 24 to 105. This lens was not worth it. Not worth any money, any of your money. I think it's 500, 600 bucks, and it's not even worth half that. It is a kit lens that comes with some cameras, some camera sets. But again, if you remember, I don't recommend any kit lenses with any cameras because they're not worth it in my opinion. I'd much prefer that instead of you giving this with a camera, you get like something like a 35 or a nifty 50. That's what I'd recommend. You could skip this. 24 to 105. Next up, we got the little nifty 50. I don't think I need to talk about this at all, because this is just a fantastic lens that everybody should have in their bag. Less than 200 bucks. F1.8, no features on it. It's just a nice, beautiful image. 50 millimeters on a full frame camera is pretty equivalent to your field of view in your eyeball. So this looks really nice in pictures and stills and video, all kinds of uses. So that's a great lens. Next, we have the 24 millimeter STM lens. This lens sits really on my R5, and I use it as a video lens. I have a black diffusion Pro Mist filter on it, 1/8. This is a nice lens. It has again another macro capabilities, 0.45. 6 inches, but it's a little bit wider than the 35, obviously. Um, Great lens. It's more expensive than I thought it'd be. It's about $500, $600 lens, and like this 35, it's bigger brother, whoever you want to call big brother. This one is newer, I guess. It came out newer, and then this one is a little bit older, but this one is wider, narrower, so 35. The 35 on a crop sensor camera, this is fantastic for video. It's so good. This one is too, but this one just because 35 times 1.6 really turns it into like a 56 millimeter, something like that. If somebody can do math, go ahead. 35 times 1.6. Um, Leave it in the comment. Yeah, this guy right here on a crop sensor is spectacular. 24. 24 is nice too. Let's see what else we got. On this camera, the R10, I have the 16 millimeter. And I have the 16 millimeter on the R10 because the 16 on a crop sensor camera is close to a 24, maybe 27 millimeter. I forget. Somebody needs to do math for me. 16 times 1.6. It's a nice field of view for a crop sensor camera for video, so I use this on my R10 at my desk. Yeah, that's a nice focal length. Here is the 56 millimeter Sigma. This is the 56 millimeter Sigma. Beautiful lens. This goes to the EFM mount, and it's dead. So these lenses are never probably going to get used again, except on that camera, which may or may not ever get used. And let me go get the 16 millimeter. And here I have the M50. M50 with a, what is it? 16 millimeter. Look at this guy. Look at it. It's a tiny little sensor. Yeah, this is the M50. This was my first ever interchangeable lens camera. This guy right here. Cool camera. Easy to use, affordable. Tiny little batteries. This is the lens that got me started with product photography. Cool camera for sure. This is the Sigma 16mm f1.4. This lens, like I said, this is for the EFM mount. And likely will probably never get used again. I'll probably hand it down to one of my family members and let them use it so that they can get their foot in the door with product photography or any kind of photography, because I have a whole nice little kit that'll go nice together. So I'll use that for this. I'll use these lenses for that, I should say. Cool. Let me know if you guys have any questions down below. I can go over anything you'd like. All right, the next little section. Do I have any more lenses? I do. I do. Is this going on? What's on this? Ultras. Sigma Dino. Hi, Sigma Dino. How are you? All right, let's do cameras next. By the way, all of this started because I wanted to record another video. And the other video that I'm going to be doing is going to be doing this guy right here. This is a Canon R8, and I'm going to be rigging it out to be for like content creation for vertical video. And I have a rig that I've been working on for couple months now that I think I'm like this close to getting it perfect. So I'm going to be working on that. So next is cameras. R7, R5. Not really putting these in any specific order. So this is the, I'm not even talking about, this is the R6 right here. Like I said, camera that I probably never get rid of. Fantastic guy right here. Small rig cage. This right here is the R5, 45 megapixel monster. This camera's great. If you could only do one, this is the one that I would say. And I think you can get it for like $2,500 or $2,900. So that's a great deal. It's the original R1. The original R5, not the Mark II. Mark II is probably still $3,800. This lens right here, this camera right here, this is the This is the little R10. This is a recent camera that I just got. Still testing it out. We'll probably do a video on it here shortly. I'm waiting for the cage to come in. This camera's great. Little R10. And then I got the R50 and then the R8. Yeah, so this is good right here. This is the Canon R8 here. I have this one paired with a 15 to 35 millimeter. I love this camera combo. This R8 with the 15 to 35 is just perfect for video. The camera doesn't have image stabilization, but the lens does, and that's really helpful for video. And I'm gonna rig this out to have, like, you know, better handling, and it's going to be in a vertical instead of a horizontal. So yeah, I love this lens here. This lens and this camera setup here is great. Yep. And the video that I'm going to be making later on tonight is going to be the Canon R8 vertical rig video. That's what I'm going to do. Then the rest of the stuff that I got is literally just accessories for everything. Yeah, that's cool, right? Yeah, that's cool for sure. Yeah, that's cool. There we go. And now I have like a little light bar. Yep. That's definitely cool. I'm just putting stuff away. These will be cool here. Love these little lights. These lights here are the newer lights. They're pretty inexpensive lights. You can get them on Amazon. They come in singles or set of twos, and they're pretty bright. The batteries don't last that very long, but they don't really need to. You can leave them plugged in and hold a charge. And they're magnetic, so you can mount them to different things. This right here is the Amaran PT1C pixel tube. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that I have. Like I said, I'm going to start recording a video here. I'm going to be filming a video, the R8 vertical camera rig. Not sure what the title is going to be, but it's going to be something like that, like the perfect Canon R8 camera rig or something like that, you know. So I'll see you over there.